forward to talking about the Super Bowl a little bit, man. That was a crazy game. I can't believe it. Could not believe the Eagles blew them out. Just completely surprised. I thought it would at least be a close game. I was not surprised that the Eagles won. I definitely, in my mind, they had a chance because statistically, when you looked at them, they were the superior team. But, after seeing Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs win the last two Super Bowls, there was something in the back of my mind. I just couldn't get out of there as far as, seeing the Eagles actually win it. So, yeah, I had the Chiefs to beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, but I did have that pick before the playoffs started. So that is giving the Eagles quite a bit of respect there. But, yeah, surprised that the game went the way it did. I did have Patrick Mahomes for the 250 passing yards, which I said was a lock on the last show, and that ended up happening. He got 257 yards, and I was actually very very surprised that hit after the first half. I think he had 35 yards in the first half, so for him to get 257, I was amazed. Like, I did not think that was going to happen, but also, they got far enough behind where I knew they were going to have to throw the ball a lot. I just, the interception he threw for the pick six, that really hurt anything, like any chance that he had of getting, like, say, over 300 yards passing for the day. But at least he got the 257. That was my biggest bet of the year. I put $500 on Pat Mahomes to get 250 yards or more. So I won 400 on that one. And luckily that came through. That made it a really good weekend, man. I missed out on some of my bets for the Chiefs to win, but also had a Barkley to get the most touchdowns, and he tied for that. And had Pat Mahomes for the most touchdowns and yards. He tied for one of those. And then on the Swifty bets, I hit the blank space bet, which was Xavier Worthy to have a 50-yard reception, and that was plus 1,600, and I put $15 on it and won like 290, or 190. I'm sorry, I think it was 190. But yeah, that was a pretty good hit there. That combined with the Patrick Mahomes over 250 yards made it a very profitable weekend. So I'm gonna keep bets like that coming in. We'll be heading in the right direction. So yeah. What was your take on the Super Bowl, my man? I was surprised. How about you?
Oh boy. I was shocked beyond belief. It felt like from the first drive, from the first quarter, it just felt like the Eagles had this game. I mean, when you're getting pressure with 4, even 3 guys without blitzing, that's impressive, and that is how you beat these better teams. That is how you beat your Patrick Mahomeses, even your Tom Brady's. That's how the Giants did it. That's how you beat these types of quarterbacks. You have to be able to pressure them without blitzing. Having those extra guys out in the coverage is huge. Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell, Zach Bond had that beautiful interception, who's been a phenomenal player all year long. The Eagles, they just suffocated Patrick Mahomes, and Mahomes is not used to seeing that much pressure. So sometimes when he does, have a lot of pressure to deal with, it's a little bit of an unfamiliar territory. You know what I mean? But this Super Bowl really reminded me of the Seahawks and the Broncos Super Bowl, a little ways back. It's just, and I have to eat some crow as well. I have to eat some crow. I mean, Jalen Hurts proved me wrong. He's the guy. He's the hero for the Eagles this weekend. I mean, for last weekend, you look what he did. I mean, the Chiefs, they sold out to stop the run. They pretty much said Barkley's not going to beat us. Let's make Jalen Hurts beat us. And Jalen Hurts, he made the big boy throws. He made the big time throws. He was a leading rusher. He had nearly 300 all-purpose yards, a couple of touchdowns. I mean, Jalen Hurts was just absolutely incredible. I'm eating some crow, man. I mean, I've always been Jalen Hurts' biggest critic. I've always questioned his passing ability. I've always questioned him quite a bit. But I think this game forces me to say, hey, man, you need to step back and you need to give Jalen Hurts the respect that is due. I wouldn't say he necessarily outgunned Patrick Mahomes because the defense really showed up in a huge way. Got all that pressure, forcing Mahomes to have a long day under pressure, and that takes a toll on you throughout the game. Mahomes, he had that good second half. First half just wasn't there, but it just felt like from the first drive, from the first quarter, from the get-go, the Eagles were gonna have this game because they were controlling the line of scrimmage. Hurts was making big time throws. They got to that early lead, and it's kind of like the key that I was talking about last week. You know how I was saying that you can't have this game be too close at the end and give Mahomes a chance? The Eagles didn't give him a chance at all. They
Dude, it
made
was
sure.
over by halftime.
Yeah, exactly. They kept their foots on the neck. They didn't give the Chiefs a chance to come back in that game. And I also have to give some credit to those Eagles cornerbacks, young cornerbacks that I mentioned last week. I kind of said that they're young. The emotions are probably going to get to them. They're probably going to have a long day. No, they didn't. They had a pretty good day on the grandest stage of the ball against one of the most talented quarterbacks to ever play the game.
I think that pass rush has a lot to do with that number one ranked pass defense, right? Those cornerbacks are young. They're good, but they're still young. A lot of the reason why they're performing at such a high level is that Eagles pass rush. I mean, those guys are good. They're big and they're fast. Like when you seen them line up against the Chiefs line, you could tell there was a size and speed difference. You didn't see that in the games before. And as I said before the game in our last show, this was the best team that Patrick Mahomes was going to face in the Super Bowl so far. Like this was his toughest challenge because statistically, this Eagles team was the best team from the regular season. When you start adding up yards and points and things like that, they are the number one team on offense and defense. That's not counting special teams when you're adding that up. But yeah. So, and for that to work out math wise, and exactly why I picked the Chiefs and the Eagles. The Eagles were the number one stat team, and the Chiefs were the champion from the year before. That's why I picked them to be in the final game before the playoffs started. Right. And I didn't ever imagine that it would work out that way or that the Eagles would win in the way they did. Heck no. I figured it'd at least be a close game. But there again, I think in our conversation last time, we also talked about the turnovers and how, at the end of the show, I was saying how I want to see a game where there's like no turnovers or there's one turnover at the end. And that didn't happen. The Chiefs come out, turning the ball over and getting a lot of pressure. And like you said, just Patrick Mahomes was getting frustrated and running for his life. Before you know it, the game was over, man. Completely astonished. Yeah. And I did not think that he was going to get the 250 yards after that first half. He had like 35 yards. 35 yards passing in the first half.
Yeah. It was crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. Yep. It's pretty amazing. Depending on what side you were on, I guess. What'd you think of all the fans booing Taylor Swift there?
Oh boy. All them cheering the other guy Trump and then all them booing Taylor Swift. It was politics aside. I kind of enjoyed seeing them boo Taylor Swift. Nothing
It was
against
just
Taylor
funny.
Swift, but
Yeah.
I just, sometimes we just want to watch football.
And people don't understand that weird sense for football fans. That's an endearing thing.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It sure is. It was a long time
The
waiting.
Philadelphia fans are very mocking in their boos and what they do. So yeah, and I'm sure a lot of them do dislike her. So
I'm sure.
Reasons,
Yeah,
but
it's
there's
not,
there's many people out in the world that are worse than she is. That's for sure. So
yeah.
you criticize her all you want. That's fine, but just like most people, it's like she's just a person. She's not out there doing too much evil in the world as far as I can see. So give her a break.
I agree.
Hey, at least she likes football, man. There's a lot of people like her that don't care about football. So at least she likes to show up and watch the games and support her guy, man. That's a cool thing.
Yeah, it is. So maybe sometimes I'm a little tougher, we're a little tough in general on her, but
yeah.
If you really think about it, she has brought a lot of eyes to football. She's brought a bigger audience to football. If anything, she's helped football in a way. You know what I mean? Like she's made it more popular, I guess, if it wasn't popular
Well,
enough.
yeah, yeah, she's exposed the game to a younger audience that normally wouldn't have tuned in or cared at all. So maybe the NFL picked up a few fans. That's why they were putting her on TV so much. So they
Yeah.
end up overdoing it, like they do everything. They took it too far, and if there's anything that's responsible for the boos, it's more that than anything Taylor's done, I'd say.
Yeah,
But
for sure. For
Just
sure.
this just make sure at the draft we continue to boo Roger Goodell as much as possible.